and the phone that is calling hers is the phone that is missing. And this is the first point in the trip I start to feel really uneasy. Like, I'm trying to leave at this point. I'm like, Mom, like, I don't feel good about being here. Like, I really just want to go.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in to episode 52 of Your Ghost Stories. Appreciate all of the messages and comments from you guys, letting me know what you thought of last week's episode. Seems it went down very well, which is great. So I've lined up a few more spooky stories just like that, told directly from the person that had the paranormal experience. Fear not, however, I will continue to do interview-style episodes too, as I know you guys like those, so feel free to let me know if there are any guests you'd like me to chat to and get on the podcast. We seem to be growing Spotify and Apple followers at a pretty rapid pace, which is blowing my mind, as this podcast is only a baby at 1 year old. So if you are new here, a big hello and welcome to you. And if you've been here from the start, then I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And yes, that did rhyme. As you might know, I'm a singer-songwriter by trade, so it just came naturally to me. Okay, moving on before I lose the new guys. If you would like to have your story featured in a future episode of Your Ghost Stories, please send an email to yourghoststoriespodcast@gmail.com, or you can send a message on the website yourghoststoriespodcast.com. Today, brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare to embark on a journey through an experience that has left Kayla gripping with trauma and bewilderment. Picture this: a solemn visit to the cemetery with close family, a moment of reflection at the graves of loved ones, and then a spine-tingling twist as the eerie veil between our world and the beyond seems to thin, manifesting what seems to be mobile phone interference from the other side, and items seemingly moving by themselves. Is this merely a series of coincidences? Or could it be a direct line of communication with realms unknown? Join us as we navigate the perplexing intersections of modern technology and the supernatural. Daring to ask, can the digital age bridge the gap even closer between the living and the departed?
Your ghost story. Your ghost story.
Something really weird happened to me a number of years ago, and I haven't talked much about it outside of my family just because it's one of those things that happened, and I honestly couldn't believe that it did. And if other people had not been there with me, I still don't know if I would believe that it happened. Mom's side of the family has experienced a lot of death, a lot of tragedy. Both of my mom's brothers died at the age of 38. Very kind of unexpectedly, they became sick. My grandparents both died in their 50s. Long history of sickness and illness. And so our family cemetery grew very fast because of this. This was probably around 2013, 2014. My mom and her two surviving sisters decided to get together. It had been a number of years since we had all been together and gone to the cemetery and done like a floral arrangement for their brothers that had passed away and also their parents. I hadn't seen my cousins in a long time and I really wanted to spend some time with them, so I decided we could make like a family outing and I decided to tag along. Something really important to note about this story, though, is there's no cell phone service at the cemetery. It is the middle of absolute nowhere. There's nothing to walk to except a creepy old church and nothing but miles and miles of farmland. It's always been this way. It's been this way as long as I can remember. There's no cell phone service, and this is important for later in the story. So I'm sitting in the back of my aunt's Toyota, and we're driving down the road, and my cousin, who is around my age, pulls out her camera that she had just gotten as a gift, and she's like, "Oh, this is so cool, check it out." And this was, a long time ago, so a digital camera was a big deal. So we're sitting there playing with it. The battery is full. And, we're just taking goofy photos, whatever. And so as we get to the cemetery, she goes to take out her camera again as we approach some of the graves because we wanted some photos of our parents out there, and it won't turn on. And we both have this moment, we're looking at each other like, why won't it turn on? So we pull the batteries out, we're fiddling with it, and it will not work. It just says no battery, no battery. Like, okay, so whatever, we put that away. A little bit into the trip, my oldest cousin present on this trip is complaining she cannot find her cell phone anywhere. And the last person who had it would have been her son, who was probably around 7 or 8 years old at the time. And he's telling us, I don't know where the phone is. I don't know where the phone is. And there's no cell phone service, so nobody can call it and figure out where it is, right? There's a fence that separates where you park your car and where the cemetery begins. Our family plots are right on the fence line, or at least very close to it. We're all inside this fence. Nobody has been outside of this fence. And I know this because I'm always the observer. I'm always watching people and seeing what they're doing. While my mom and her sisters are over there fiddling with flower arrangements, my cousin and I are kind of sitting on the gravestone, and I'm watching my cousins to see what they're doing. Nobody walks outside of that fence. I'm telling you, there's no way. No one can find this phone. And all of a sudden, my mom's oldest sister, her phone starts making the weirdest noise. It was the weirdest beeping sound. It was not a sound that was programmed into the phone. It was not a downloaded sound. I don't know how to describe it other than it just wasn't her ringtone. She honestly didn't even know it was her phone at first because of how weird the sound was. When she held up her phone, there was 2 really alarming things that I noticed. First, the phone should not have been ringing. Even though it was showing that someone was calling, there was no service in the corner. Didn't make any sense. The second thing that surprised us all is we're standing in a circle watching this phone ring. There's no one else out there. And the phone that is calling hers is the phone that is missing. And this is the first point in the trip I start to feel really uneasy. Like, I'm trying to leave at this point. I'm like, Mom, like, I don't feel good about being here. Like, I really just want to go. But nobody else seems to be listening to me. Even though I'm like dying to get out of here. I know something is wrong. And in the midst of them not listening to me, what does my aunt do? She answers the phone. It's not a person on the other end of it. It is like this crackling sound, like someone like popping some like rocks or rolling rocks in their hand. And my mom and her sisters start crying, and they're saying like, "This is our dad calling us. This is our dad." And I'm looking around and I'm like, is nobody else scared? At this point, I'm ready to walk out of this place and just leave. Like, I literally head to the car. And as I'm walking out of this car, there's like this little covered pavilion that's like kind of by the entrance of the cemetery on the other side of the fence where the cars are parked. And sitting on that pavilion is my cousin's phone, face down, locked. Nobody was out there to have called from that phone to my aunt's number. When my cousin unlocks that phone, there is no record of a phone call. There's nothing on it. It says no service. No phone call has been made. How is that possible? I don't know. I literally bolted to the car. I said, I'm done with this. I'm so done. I'm out of here. I would not be sitting here crying saying it's my dad because I just didn't feel good about it. Maybe I was just easily spooked. I don't know, but I'm leaving. Deuces. I climb back in my aunt's Camry and we're driving down the road leaving at this point. They've had their waterworks show. I'm pretty shook. Like, I'm not feeling too good. And my cousin's over there still fiddling with her camera. As we get down the road, she's like, I still don't understand why this camera doesn't work. She goes to turn it on and it says full battery.
Your ghost story. Your ghost story.
And I actually have been talking about this a little bit more with my family recently. And my cousin, who's around my age, we had a conversation about it. And she pointed out something that was kind of interesting that I thought I would share with you guys. So, unfortunately, since that event happened, my family suffered some more loss. My mom's oldest sister, she passed away from breast cancer, and her daughter passed away in her sleep unexpectedly. So, both of the people whose phones were involved were the next to die. I haven't been back to the cemetery in years, and really I don't have intentions of going back until I absolutely have to. But knowing what I know now, it really bothers me because I realized where we were standing in that circle and my aunt's phone was ringing is now the same place where both my aunt and my oldest cousin are buried. And if that's not life for you, I don't know what is.